Nevada state government, the executive. Nevada uses separation of powers just like every other state in the union. There are three branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial. Nevada's legislature is bicameral, as is true of every state in the union except for Nebraska, which has a unicameral legislature. Nevada has a plural executive. Nevada has three tiers or levels of state judiciary. So, what kind of executive exactly do we have, and what does it mean to say that Nevada has a plural executive? It means that there are multiple independently elected members of the executive branch, and specifically, there are 6 independently elected members of this executive branch. The governor is the chief executive, but he cannot fire or hire the other 5 members of the elected executive because those other 5 members are independently elected by the people. Nevada elected Brian Sandoval as governor in November of 2010 and then re-elected him by a wide margin in November of 2014. The governor-elect takes office in January. Brian Sandoval was born in 1963 in Redding, California. Sandoval is a former federal judge, and before that, he was Nevada's Attorney General, and he was also chairman of the Nevada Gaming Commission. Sandoval graduated from University of Nevada, Reno in 1986 with bachelor's in English and economics. In fact, 7 of the last 9 governors since 1959 graduated from University of Nevada, Reno. None graduated from UNLV. Sandoval graduated from the Ohio State University's Michael E. Moritz College of Law in 1989 with his JD. Line of gubernatorial succession basically is such that if governor dies or otherwise becomes unable to carry out his duties as governor, lieutenant governor becomes acting governor. If lieutenant governor is also unable to do so, then president pro tem of the Nevada Senate becomes acting governor, and this is all according to Article 5 of the Nevada Constitution. Speaker of the Assembly and Secretary of the State are next in line. Now, why is the executive branch more powerful than the legislative branch? And specifically, why is governor, who is the head of the legislative branch, is more powerful than the legislature? I think the next 2 slides will actually answer this question. So first and foremost, governor is chief executive, and in this capacity, he appoints about 80 heads and deputy heads of departments, and the members of 200 boards, commissions, and committees. The governor himself is a member of several boards and commissions. Some of the key appointments that the governor makes are head of the Department of Motor Vehicles, Public Safety, Human Resources, and Employment Security. Members of the Gaming Control Board, the Gaming Commission, the Public Works Board, and the Parole Commission. The governor does not need to have legislative approval to make these appointments. Nevada governor does not have the sole power to issue pardons. Attempts to grant him this power through constitutional amendments have failed. Instead, the governor serves as one member of the 9-member state board of pardon commissioners. A majority of the board members must grant a pardon, but the governor has the veto power over any pardon. I think this limitation on governor's power is relatively minor. In fact, it's insignificant in the grand scheme of power, in the grand scheme of his greater power over the other 2 branches of government. Additionally, additional chief executive powers of Nevada governor. He can appoint officials to serve in some offices if a vacancy occurs between elections, suspend a fine of forfeiture and grant a reprieve of up to 60 days from the time of judgment. He serves on the Board of State Prison Commissioners, which oversees state prison systems. He also serves on the Board of Examiners, which oversees all claims against the state for money or property. Governor is also Chief of State. This is a ceremonial and symbolic position, but it is an important one. The governor serves as the state's goodwill ambassador, attending various state functions and representing the states to the world outside Nevada. In this role, the governor will meet with president and other governors and will also do ribbon cutting at new casinos and groundbreaking for important construction projects. The state constitution requires the governor to give State of the State address. In this address, the governor outlines his legislative program. the governor has a lot of clout over the budget, and this is the main source of power as chief legislator. So we have seen a couple of minutes ago that governor is powerful because he appoints over 80 heads and deputy heads of important commissions and boards without legislative approval. Now we are seeing the second major source of governor's power, and the second major reason why he is more powerful than the legislature, because he has tremendous clout over the budget. And remember, budget makes policy. If it's not paid for, it doesn't exist. And by having control over budget, over resources, governor therefore controls what exists and what doesn't exist. Nevada uses the system of central clearance, which means that all budgetary requests by agencies must first go to the governor before they go to the state legislature. So let's say Department of Public Safety wants a certain budget of X dollars to be approved for next year. It cannot go behind governor's back to the legislature. In fact, it cannot go behind governor's back anywhere. It has to submit its proposal to the governor. And an agency head can request any budget from the governor, but is usually not in a position to ask the legislature for more than the governor recommends. So if the governor wants to approve Y amount of dollars, the agency asked for X amount of dollars. Governor approved, let's say, a slightly lesser amount of Y amount of dollars. The agency is very unlikely to get more than Y, to get its original requested X. So the governor's budget is usually adapted with only a few minor modifications by the legislature. The governor has veto power. All bills passed by both houses of the state legislature in the same form go to the governor. The governor can sign, veto, or do nothing. Nevada governors vetoes have been overridden 12% of the time, which is actually significantly higher than the national average of 1% for all governors. So you can see nationwide, governors are extremely powerful because their vetoes are almost never overridden, 1% on average. In Nevada, it's 12% because I think it's kind of curious that most governors in recent decades have been from the north, or at least have developed their political connections in the northern part of the state. And so they have been agents of the north, politically and economically. But most people in Nevada actually live in the southern part of the state. So there's a regional collision between the legislature, which is dominated by Southerners, and by the governor, who tends to be a Republican and is from the north. You look at recent governors; they've all been Republicans, and Sandoval is a Republican. Before him, Jim Gibbons was a Republican. Before him, Kenny Guinn was a Republican. So we've had like a quarter century of Republican governor after Republican governor, and not just Republican governor, but one that has close connection to the northern part of the state, whereas almost 80% of all people live in the southern part of the state. And so inevitably you have a higher percentage of vetoes overridden by governor, but still, put it in perspective, 12% is not a whole lot. Let's talk about the role of lieutenant governor. Now, current lieutenant governor is Mark Hutchinson, and he was elected as a result of the November 2014 election, in which Republicans had a clean sweep of the plural executive. He chairs Commission on Tourism and serves on the State Board of Transportation. Previously, he served 2 terms as Nevada State Treasurer. He's licensed to practice law in Nevada and California, has 6 children. He's an active member of the Church of Latter-day Saints. Primary law practice areas of business and complex tort litigation. Now, 9 out of 36 times, the lieutenant governor and the governor belonged to different parties. Under Article 5 of the Constitution, lieutenant governor becomes acting governor not only in case of vacancy, but also in case of the governor's absence from the state for any reason. So say if a governor has to travel to the governor's meeting every year and he's out of state, then Nevada lieutenant governor acts as an acting governor. The Nevada Supreme Court interpreted this to mean that there must be some critical need in order for lieutenant governor to act. That is to say, if governor is absent and lieutenant governor is formally a governor, he doesn't actually act like a governor. That is to say, he doesn't propose legislature, he doesn't sign or veto bills unless there is some kind of critical need to do so. So in governor's absence, lieutenant governor serves only as a caretaker governor. He doesn't sign bills, he doesn't veto them, he doesn't propose them to the legislature. He is just there like a presence, and has to act only if there is some critical need to do so. Lieutenant Governor chairs two commissions, economic development and also tourism. Both of these are highly important for Nevada. Lieutenant Governor can also serve as an advisor to Governor, but this doesn't happen very often because number one rarely wants to take advice from number two. Next is Attorney General. Now, after Governor, the Attorney General is the most visible member of the Nevada executive branch. Attorney General is the chief legal advisor to the state. Attorney General serves on the Board of Prison Commissioners, Board of Examiners, and Board of State Pardon Commissioners. Attorney General defends the state or prosecutes on behalf of the state in the Nevada State Supreme Court and the Supreme Court of the United States. Current Nevada Attorney General is Adam Paul Laxalt. He is the youngest, or at least one of the youngest ever, to be elected in Nevada's history. He was born only in 1978 and is an illegitimate child of former Republican Senator Pete Domenici. Pete Domenici was a very powerful and colorful character in the United States Senate. So this is actually his son. We also have Secretary of State, and this is official who can be seen as a custodian of the state's records. Think of this position like a chief clerk for the state. Also, Secretary of State, along with Governor, must sign all state grants and commissions. He serves on the Board of Prison Commissioners and also on the Board of Examiners. By state law, Secretary of State commissions notaries public. In Nevada, Secretary of State prepares official election ballots, publishes official election results, and issues certificates of election to the winners. Barbara Kagavsky, who was born in 1951, is the Secretary of State. She served as Nevada Assembly in the Nevada Assembly from 1996 to 2001. State Treasurer receives and invests all money paid to the state, distributes state money upon receipt of a warrant from the Comptroller. Dan Schwartz is the Nevada State Treasurer. So this position accepts money into the Treasury from taxes, fines, and forfeitures, and invests that money so it would grow. And the state controller is the other side of this coin. You see, the treasurer and the controller are two sides of the same coin. If the treasurer takes the money in and invests it, then the controller pays the money out. So, and he also serves as the chief bookkeeper for the state, making an annual report of state expenditures to the governor and serving as the chief auditor in any claims against the state. Ron Knecht was elected in 2014 to this position, and this is Nevada's plural executive. To sum up, Nevada splits its executive among 6 positions. Governor is the most powerful of the 6, but he does not control the other 5. Governor is more powerful than the legislature. In general, the executive branch as a whole is more powerful than the legislative branch as a whole. And given the stunning results of the election of 2014, the Republicans have complete control on the plural executive, at least for now. Thank you.